Hello, everyone. This is Emily Burley, President of ELS. Welcome to today's ELSX, and thank you for joining us. ELS is a community that brings together executive assistants supporting the world's most influential leaders. We cultivate professional development by providing an experience for assistants to connect, collaborate, and contribute solutions to their greatest challenges. We're also the creator of the ELS Forum, a professional development experience for executive assistants held in 26 cities worldwide. At the forum, attendees gain support, training, and inspiration from world renowned instructors and peers to discover a renewed sense of passion and purpose in their career. If you are interested in attending a forum, you can find out more at elsforum.com. Today, I am thrilled to partner with one of the world's top technology trainers, Melissa Escabel. Melissa specializes in transforming those confused by technology into empowered users. As a Microsoft certified trainer with more than 25 years in business application technology, Melissa has a unique ability to make learning programs enjoyable and valuable. Hello and welcome, Melissa.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, nice to see you. Nice to virtually see you all.
Today, Melissa will share the 7 must-know tools in Microsoft Office with a sprinkling of G Suite. There will be an opportunity to get your questions answered, so please submit your questions at any time via the questions chat tab on your webinar toolbar right on the right-hand side of your screen. And you can also download a copy of the handout for today's webinar via the handout tab on the GoToWebinar toolbar that's also on the right-hand side of your screen. It is now my pleasure to hand it over to Melissa.
Thanks, Emily. And again, hello, everybody. I'm really glad you're here. What really gets me excited about the work I do is that you already own some of the most powerful tools. You already use them. They're already in your organization. But so much of the really cool functionality sometimes is a little hidden from view. Unless somebody points it out to you, you're not really sure what's there. So today, we're going to go over seven of my favorite tips. And we're going to kind of cover the gamut here from Outlook and Gmail to Excel and Word. So we're going to cover how to email to many people without using that BCC field. That's what we've kind of fallen back to, but there's some pitfalls with that. We'll talk about those. If you've always struggled to get VLOOKUP, I think today's your day. Today's the day we're going to make sense of what VLOOKUP can do and how it actually works and ways to make it, I like to call it Melissa-proof, but ways to make it, change-proof so that when you are working with your data, it doesn't matter if it changes, your VLOOKUPs will always work. And then to Microsoft Word, how to avoid section break mayhem. If any of you have ever had to do very big documents, you know that kind of you push it in one side and it leaks out the other side thing that goes on with section breaks in your headers. So we're going to talk about how to get that solved once and for all. We've got 2 methods, so it's kind of a bonus one in there. We'll talk about fast tracking presentations from right in PowerPoint so that you are not doing everything the long way. Presentation should be a really quick process if you know what your content should be. The worst thing to do is try to use PowerPoint as a word processor because it's a terrible word processor. Okay, Google and Outlook calendars. So this is a struggle for me. And some of you may also experience this. We're fast becoming a world where we're not demanding what people use, but trying to work with what they're already using. Now, my family are big Google users, and so they have all the calendars, all the family events, everything going on in Google. I'm, of course, on the Microsoft side in Outlook, and I found some solutions that when they add something to their calendar, I see it on mine without having to run back and forth between them. So I'm really excited to share those tips with you. And then version control. If you've been around the office productivity software world, be it Microsoft or Google, for a long time, you have probably developed some really involved naming structure where you can tell whether this is the most current version, one back, several back, last year's. Well, version control is now built into just the way word processing, actually all of the file processing works now on both the Google and Microsoft platform. And so we're going to show you how to find those and some really cool things that Google can do that Microsoft can't. And then we'll wrap up with date math magic, which is always one of my favorite topics. Okay, so let's start with Outlook. Using that BCC field to send out a bunch of emails is problematic. One of the main reasons it's problematic is a lot of the spam buster kind of things that work on mail servers, and everyone uses their own. This is, any organization you might be sending email to might have their own product that they go to. When it detects that an email message might be a spam mail, it will lock it up, quarantine it, or mark it that way. And a lot of people have their email rules set that if it appears to be a spam, it just kind of shoves it off to the side, and they may never see your email. So that BCC field is not always the best thing. Just because everybody else can't see the email address doesn't mean your email's not getting through. Now, whether you realize it or not, Mail Merge, which you've probably heard about in Microsoft Word, is also available straight from Outlook. So let's see how that works. Let's go over to Outlook here. I got half a dozen windows open. I'm going to come over here to my people or contacts. So whatever version of Outlook you might be using, it's going to be contacts or people. I'm going to select the people I want to send this to, just these two names. Now the secret is there is an actions group. A lot of us never look up there because we never use these tools, but there it is. And in Actions, you'll see the Mail Merge button. Now, right here, the default is only selected contacts. I'm a big fan of going in and actually physically selecting the contacts that I wanted to go to. You can see that if you accidentally click that, if you're in a view with a lot more contacts, that's potentially a problem. I've actually done a folder, or I should say a group, a contact group, not an Office 365 group, but a contact group to put all the names I want to send in, and I'm looking at that group when I'm doing that send. That just prevents you from sending things to people you don't intend to receive them. Okay, so we're going to leave it only selected contacts. We'll leave it as a new document, and the document type we can leave as form letters, and we're going to merge it to an email and click OK. We can put the subject line in here, or we can do it at the end. Let's go ahead and put our subject line in. This is a test merge email, and click OK. And if you noticed, it says it's initializing Microsoft Word. So Word, the mail merge you might be used to using in Word, is actually the same mail merge tool that's going to get used here. So because we've already started with our recipients, if you do this, if you do edit recipient list, you can see that those two names are already here. So we don't need to bother with this part, but we are going to start our letter. So let's say we want to say hello, and we will go to insert merge field. Now these are all of the fields that a contact has in Outlook. So we can say, let's say we're using first name. So hello first name, exclamation point. Great to see you at ELS Forum Atlanta. Here is the information I promised. And that information can be down here somewhere. Maybe it's a link to a file. So here it is. This is the email. The big change for you was that you're inserting merge fields. Now anything can be a merge field. So here's promised. I hope to learn more about what your organization, comma, and then insert company if you've stored that, is up to with Office 365. Now, we're going to finish and merge that. You can either edit individual documents. Sometimes that's not a bad idea to do that edit because it will allow you to see how the names come out. So if you had a blank first name field or something else in the first name field, it would allow you to see that, to catch any problems. If you're missing a company, that would allow you to see that you're missing a company down here. Okay, so I'm going to close this because this is a document, a temporary document that was created. And I'm going to say finish and merge, send email messages. Now, here is probably the most important tip about this one. Go back to your Outlook, go to send receive, and say work offline. The reason is when we hit finish and merge and send email, we're going to confirm our subject line and who it's going to. What it's going to do is it's going to put it in the out box. Okay, so now it's done. You saw it kind of go through there. If we go back to our mail here and go back to where this would have sent from, which would have been this account. Can never have too many email boxes. You can see I've got those 2 emails in the outbox just ready to go. The reason I turn send receive off is it's my last chance to catch something. It's my last chance to catch, did I make an error? Are these all the right people? And I can go in here and quickly make an adjustment, like take out these commas and then hit send again. So that is now an edited email. When I turn send receive off and say, okay, no longer want to work offline, those guys are going to get sent the next time it does a refresh, and off they're going to go here. There they go. So you can do a mail merge straight from Outlook. So what about attachments? Well, first of all, about attachments, I'd like to say don't. We clog our email up so many times with attachments. If you're using G Suite or you're using Office 365, put them out in a OneDrive file and get a sharing link from OneDrive and put the link in the email and try to avoid attachments. That said, you could, before you remove send receive and let it go, you could go out and attach a file to each one of those. I've looked for a solution for actually doing that a little bit more automatically. I've not found one yet, but then I've not been sending out quite as many attachments as I used to. I'm doing a lot of file links. Now, if you're a Gmail user, look up the GMass add-on. The GMass add-on for Gmail will allow you to do it, and their mail merge add-on is, I think, a slicker tool than what Outlook offers for mail merge. But you do need to do an add-on. We're not going to go over that here, but that's what it's called, GMass. It basically, just to kind of give you a synopsis, it will start you out with a spreadsheet, a Sheets document. It will have all the fields already laid out across for what an email fields an email uses. You populate it with data, and it walks you through the process of sending the email. The cool part about it is also what's built into that, I believe, is scheduling. You can put the email attachment links in there. You can do all this good stuff. So if you're a G Suite user, look up GMass. Okay, now on to tip number 2, VLOOKUP. This still confounds people coast to coast, so don't feel like you're alone. People struggle with VLOOKUP, mostly because this dialog box is not terribly helpful. It's hard to look at lookup value, table array, col index, num, and range lookup and understand what those mean. So here's what they mean. What do you want to look up? Where do you want to look for it? Which column, so which column number do you want, and what do you want Excel to do if it can't find it? Let me jet over here to Excel and go to my VLOOKUP here. So I built a little lookup, there we go. I built a little lookup table here. So it just has an index number or a product number, a product name, quantity, and a price. And we want to be able to type in a product name like orange and have it return the price. Or alternatively, enter a product number and get the price. So one or the other. Now let's kind of reverse engineer that and see how we got to this answer. I'm going to duplicate this and start from scratch, move or copy, create a copy. We'll put it right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete the formulas that I have in here, and let's go ahead and build a VLOOKUP. I'm actually going to begin where I want to see the answer. So I want the price back, so I'm going to start over here. I'm going to use this icon, which is Insert Function. You'll also see it on the Formulas tab, Insert Function, and on the Home tab, I think it's somewhere. You can see it on AutoSum, and you can do more functions here, but this is easy. Just going to click the FX. Now you could just start typing VLOOKUP, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the reason I want to do this, because I think it's easier to understand that what, where, which, what if when you're looking at this. So lookup value means what, table array means where, column index number means which column number, and range lookup means what if I can't find it. So what I want to look up is whatever I'm going to type in here in G2. That's the product name. The table, you might be tempted to select this whole thing, but since we're looking up product name, we're actually just going to select this part of the table. Now you notice it popped in with a name. I'm going to go ahead and type in the cell references the way it would first appear, because I did do a named range in there. So that would be B2 to D5. B2 to D5. Now that's okay for 1. If we were going to copy this down, we would want to make that an absolute cell reference. What does that mean? When you see dollar signs around the columns and rows, when you copy a formula down, those row numbers won't change. And if you copy it across, those column letters won't change. So it won't become B2 through D6, B through D7, because that's not where our table is. So putting those dollar signs around will lock it in place. And the way you do the dollar signs, you can either type them in or use your F4 shortcut key, and that's on a PC. There is a like shortcut on a Mac, and I don't right now remember what that is, but if you look up shortcut keys on a Mac for absolute cell reference, it should share it with you what that is. Okay, so what do we want to look up? Whatever's in G2. Where do we want to look for it? In the table that goes from B2 through D5. Which column has the information we need? Now here's something tricky. You actually want to start counting from the lookup column. So not from A, from 1, 2, 3. The third column. So you're not going to say D, you're going to say the third column. So what do we want to look up? Whatever we type in G2. Where do we want to look that up? In a table that looks like this, from here to here. Which column has the information we want? 1, 2, 3, the third column. Now, what do we want Excel to do if it can't find it? There are 2 choices here. The first is get close without going over. Well, that might apply to these product numbers over here. So if I typed in 1, 2, 3, 3 in the product name, if I don't put anything down here in range lookup, it's going to return $1 because 1, 2, 3, 4 is as close as it can get. Now, if I put in 1299, it'll give me 75 cents because 1237 is as close as it can get. Most of the time, unless you're doing commission structure or shipping tables, you're going to want to type a 0 or the word false. Now, a lot of you who are VLOOKUP experts already, I know there's a bunch of you on the call today, so some of you may already be VLOOKUP experts. If you're using the word false, here's a tip. You just need to use a 0. It's 4 less keystrokes, and it accomplishes the same thing. So 0 and false mean the same thing. All right, I'm going to click OK here. Now, initially, we get NA because we haven't entered anything in here. So let's type in Apple. And you can see now that our VLOOKUP knew what we wanted to look up, where we wanted to look for it, which column number we wanted back, and what we wanted it to do if we couldn't find it. So if I typed in avocado here, it would give me NA, not available in the list. So now what about product number? Well, it's kind of the same formula. Now this one I'm going to do in line. So instead of the dialog box, equal VL. As you know from 2010, I think it's 2010, may even be 2007 forward, you just need to type in as many letters as you need for that to pop up right here and then hit your tab key. So you don't have to type in the whole function. We want to look up whatever's here. And we want to look it up in a table that goes now from A2, because now we're looking at product number, through D5. And we're going to use that F4 shortcut in both cell references to lock it in place, because that's the only place that table is. We need now the fourth column, right? We start counting from the lookup column. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want it to find it exactly. And this one's really important because we don't want it guessing about a product number. Now again, it says NA. Let's put in product number 1236. And it gives us the price for banana. If we were to type in 1235, it would give us the same $2 as it did up here for apple. So one little bonus tip here before we go is let's resolve that NA, because you saw on my initial one, it actually put in kind of a message. I mean, here's a longer formula, but it has that VLOOKUP in it. So let's do this. If you're using 2013 or beyond, any version of Office 365, because it's always current, and then 2013 and beyond, you have a function called IfNA. And you just need to type that in front of your VLOOKUP, IfNA, followed by, I'm going to do it up here so I can see what I'm doing, comma. So if that's going to be an NA, just say enter valid product name. So if I type in a valid product name, let's see what we have done here. The VLOOKUP gave me product name. Right, Melissa, product name. How about Apple? There we go. And so you could do the same thing here. You can just put the IfNA right in front. IfNA. So if that whole VLOOKUP is going to be an NA, put in enter valid product number. Okay? So that's what we have here. By the way, I'll make this workbook available to you if anybody wants it. You just need to reach out to me and I'll send it to you if you want the formulas. So that's all a VLOOKUP is. It's what, where, which, and what if. Until somebody taught me that, I had no idea how a VLOOKUP worked. It is what, where, which, and what if. Now, you can make some update-friendly lookup tables by using either the table style formatting or named ranges. Now, you have named ranges in both G Suite and Office. That's what these two symbols mean. It means it's in both. Tables, I believe, are only in Office, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But for sure, you can do named ranges. So what I did to make these work, because you can see I don't, I've actually got some names in here called product name table. So we can actually name this product number table. And then I'm going to name this product name table. And now when I build that, I can use the, let me get this gone here, product name table. There you go. Sneak my comma back in there. Product name table. So now I can type in Apple and it will give me that price. And this one, we're going to name product number table. Let me get in the right place here. Product number table. Here we go. And now we get the right price there. So by doing that, all I ever have to do is increase this table. So I just need to insert new rows in between. If I'm using table style formatting, let me quickly do a format as a table. If I'm doing table style formatting, I can name this product number table. I'm doing it slightly different here, slightly different name. And then this becomes something I can use as a lookup table. So whether you're using named ranges or you're using tables, when you add new things, you don't have to worry about adjusting your VLOOKUP to say, okay, now go to row 7 or now go to row 8. You can just increase the table and your VLOOKUPs will always work. All right, section break mayhem. Let's go ahead and jet over to Microsoft Word. This one used to get me. I used to be a tech writer. And in tech writing, you're generating sometimes, multi-hundred page documents that require a different heading for each section. And it seemed like every time I touched something over here, something else broke. Well, the first thing I want to introduce you to is the need to not do that at all. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to open up a document here. It's the outline I use to work on this. Let's go ahead and get everything spread out. So this is kind of the document I used for to work on this project. Let's see if I can get them all. There we go. I just want to get them all. They used to be able to just do that with the right click, but it's not being behaved. So expand all. It's not doing it over here. Well, okay. So I have heading 1s and heading 2. So let's say your heading 1s are really going to be your chapter titles. So I can have, without doing any section headers at all, make each page, each new section, adopt whatever is in heading 1. So the steps will be in your handout, guys. These are the exact steps I'm going to follow here on the screen. The first thing I'm going to do, you have to use styles. There's no other way around it. So make sure that you're actually applying heading styles to your topic headings. I'm going to go ahead and modify this style. Don't get panicky if you've never worked in styles before. This isn't as hard as it seems. I'm going to go ahead and say modify style. I'm going to ignore all the stuff that I don't know about and come down here to a format button. Format paragraph. Done that before. And I'm going to make this a page break before. Now you're going to see something magical happen to the document. Is it now has every heading 1 on its own page. So she says with a grin, modify format paragraph. Yeah, should do it. Okay, so now that we have each one, and it will eventually catch up with itself, Office 365 is being so interesting today. If I want this to appear in the heading, I'm going to go ahead and edit my header. So I'm just going to double click up there. And I'm going to click on the Insert tab. You're looking for this button. Now it's mashed down on my screen. On yours, if it's wide enough, it may say Quick Parts or Explore Quick Parts. That's the button you want to click. And you're going to come all the way down here to the field menu option. And that's when you're going to see that dialog box that's in the handout. What we're looking for in this list is style ref. Okay? And we're going to say the style reference is heading 1. That will automatically put that in the title of each header. See? Mail to many without using BCC. And whenever the rest of the document catches up with the fact that it's supposed to be on its own page, I'm not sure why. There we go. So now it's starting to jump to its own page. I had to expand them all. So you see automatically that heading 1 is coming up. I didn't do one single section break. So if your document can be adapted like this, where you start off with heading 1, you can do these steps, change heading 1 and to page break before, get into your header. On the Insert tab, you're looking for the Quick Parts button. You're going to select Field from that menu, and then you'll be in this dialog box you see on the screen. Choose Style Ref and heading 1, and never, ever mess with a section break ever again. That's my preferred method now, and I will try to construct documents like that. Now, if you can't do that, if you can't page break before each heading 1 and you need something else, more flexibility with your headings, you can still use section breaks, but please follow these steps in this order. This will prevent you from accidentally changing a header you don't mean to. So the first thing is get all your content in, all of it. Don't worry about your section breaks or your headings. Get all the content in there. If you're sending it out for review and revision for other people, don't put any headings, page headers in. Just let them add their content. You go ahead and edit it. Now you've got all the content in. Make sure you're formatting your headings and subheadings with header 1, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4. Use those headings. It's easier to work with your document. Then go through and insert your section breaks wherever you want to see them. Now, it's possible when you insert a section break next page, let me go ahead and just put up a new document here with a bunch of stuff. We'll put in a bunch of stuff. Here we go. And let's say this is my topic 1. I'm going to make it a heading 1. I'm using the shortcut Control-Alt-1, but you can use the button. And let's say I'm going to make this heading 2 or topic 2, Control-Alt-1. Okay. And let's say I want the section break to end here. So this is the end of that. And then I want to start a brand new section. Insert. I do that all the time because that's where I want the breaks button to be. Layout, breaks, section break, next page. I'm going to go ahead and turn my show hide button on so you can actually see where it put that section break in. So this is now where we're going to have section 2. And if I go into this header, if you squint, let me see if I can bring my alternate little magnifier on here. It's not going to let me. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this guy, but I'm going to try it anyway. Down here in the lower left, it actually says section 2. So anything after that section break, which is up here, is now section 2. So I didn't say start typing in headers. I just said insert your section breaks where you want to see them break out. That's it. Don't do the section breaks yet because there's 2 important steps you need to do before that. Now you're going to edit the header. So you're going to go into each header and make sure, let me go to the next one here, that you unlink to previous. So before you've typed anything in, make sure you uncheck link to previous on all of them. Do that first. You may also want to do it on footers. For my documents, my page numbers stay pretty sequential, so I don't worry about that. I leave my footers alone, but I do disconnect all the headers. Now I can put in whatever section header I want. If you notice that you're getting some ugly section paragraph breaks, so it would get widows and orphans or just topics not staying with their drawing. So if I have something at the bottom of this page that is a drawing of some kind, we'll just insert, let's insert something from the online picture. Put in that, and we'll put in that. Okay, so what we really want, and we'll make that a little smaller, what we really want is this text to stay with this picture. So I'm going to select this. Instead of throwing a hard page break in here, which is a big no-no, you want to do a paragraph, keep with next. And if that doesn't do it, keep lines together. It's It's making fun of me. Let me see why. It's also not updating very quickly. And I've lost my scroll, so it's thinking about it. So don't use hard page breaks. Use the paragraph, keep with next, and keep lines together in order to keep things together. That way, if you add content anywhere, if it no longer needs a page break, you won't get one. In other words, if it's now flowing nicely because you added extra stuff, then it's fine. And if not, then it will flow with that diagram, maybe someday. Okay, so don't use hard page breaks. That will undermine you. Do it in this order. Don't go back. Don't try to do section breaks as you're constructing your document. Don't try to paginate as you're doing your document. Your last step in completing a document should be dealing with those ugly paragraph breaks. That's when you're going to do that, not before. Just do it when you're getting ready to finalize your document. So that is the key right there. Link to previous, unlink everything. This is one of my favorite tips in Microsoft PowerPoint. PowerPoint is pretty much an awful word processor if you are typing in slides. So as you can imagine, because this is what I do for a living, I get a lot of presentations. So I'm just going to do a new one here. I have to do a lot of presentations. And we're thinking, let's see if I do this. I'm not sure what happened here. Bear with me 1 minute, guys, while this thing decides what it's going to do. There we go. Blank presentation. And while I'm there, let me do that. And shift. Here's a tip that that wasn't planned. Shift F5. Shift F5 begins a presentation from where you are. Okay, let's go over to a blank presentation. So if I want to start constructing a presentation, and I'm pretty clear about my content, the last place I want to start typing is here. I'm going to go to the outline view. Now, if you're in 2016 and beyond, you actually have to go to view and outline view. If you're using an earlier version, you might see the outline view tab right up here. You see slides and outline. You just click on the outline and ignore this part of, ignore this part of the screen and simply start typing in the things about your presentation. So, Technology Masterclass. I'll spell that correctly. Enter, and we're going to have the agenda, and we're going to talk about Word, and we're going to talk about Docs, and we're going to talk about Excel, and we're going to talk about Sheets, and we're going to talk about PowerPoint and slides. Let's just say that's the outline. Now, that's just the outline for my presentation. Each time I pressed Enter, it actually created a new slide. Now I'm going to build the agenda. I can actually do this. I'm going to copy these, press Enter on Agenda and Tab. Now Tab actually indented it. Let me do another tab here. Indented it to make them like a bullet point. And that's exactly what it did over here on the screen. So now again, I'm going to go after Word. Enter, Tab. And we'll talk about styles, shortcuts, and templates, and extras. And we'll talk about docs instead of sections and other things, versions. So as I'm typing here, because this makes sense, this is an outline, I can kind of see the structure. When I'm done with all this, I'm going to go back to the normal view. And now I can start putting in screenshots, graphics, and everything else that I want to put in. But working from the outline view, you just get to think through what you're going to have in here without worrying about what it looks like on the other side. That's a huge time waster in PowerPoint. We type a little, format a little, type a little more, format a little more, and before you know it, we're manually tweaking things and we're exhausted. So use this method to start building your presentations. Now this is really exciting. This has really been a lifesaver for me. I'm using Office 365 Flow to do this, but you can always also do the same thing with IFTTT, which stands for if this then that. go to ifttt.com. That's where you can activate that app for yourself. It's free. Zapier, Zapier.com. There's free and paid versions of both of these. I use Zapier paid version to do things like process PayPal payments and register webinars and that whole thing. But the free version works just as well. You can have a limited number of zaps. But let me show you what these look like. So in Office 365 Flow, which you get just by clicking on the little app launcher, you'll actually find that there are flows already built that sync events between Office 365 and Google Calendar. So every time somebody adds something to the Google Calendar, it actually converts it and puts something in my Office 365 calendar. So my kids can enter whatever they want in the family calendar, and it will eventually appear in mine, which I don't have to chase them back and forth anymore. ifttt.com, there's an Outlook calendar to Google Calendar. So if we were doing this the opposite way, anything I put in my Outlook calendar, it will push it out to the Google Calendar. So you can use both, you can use one or the other. Generally, if it goes one way, you can get it to go the other way too, no matter what you use. If you're a Mac, iPhone user, this is your tool. ifttt is very, 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 very Mac friendly. So ifttt is another one. And finally, Zapier. So Zapier works. What do you want to have happen? You first have to connect your apps, which means you're putting in a password. Now, if you're doing this with your corporate accounts, you're going to want to get your IT folks to bless connecting these things outside of your ecosystem, your Google or your Microsoft ecosystem. So you will probably need to get permission for that. But once you can do that, you can now connect these things. What this is really helpful for is when you have executives that come in and they're brand new to the organization and they like their tool set and they don't want to move away from their tool set. They're a dyed-in-the-wool Outlook user and you're a G Suite shop. You can go ahead and allow them to use the tools they're using if they have their own accounts and then connect it back to yours. So it's not a struggle. You can make it work. That's where ifttt, Zapier, and Flow come in. They actually connect ecosystems, and there's a lot more you can do with these. So I urge you to explore it. So if you have some really crazy naming scheme to keep track of versions, this is a quick one. Let me come out here to Microsoft Word to a document I already had. I'm going to click on File, and this is the same for Google Docs and for Microsoft. Click on the File tab. Now in, let me go back to something else that's connected. Let's see, make sure I'm actually logged in. Okay. Okay, good. All right. File should be a manage versions in here. It's not showing up, so I'll show it to you in Google Docs. If I'm out here in Google Docs and I click on, let me close this up. Bear with me 1 second. All right, so I'm in a document. Let's open one up here. We're in a document. If I click on File, same thing in Word, File, you will see version history, and you can click See Version History, and you'll actually see the versions there. Now, if you want to, you can name a version. You just need to click on this and name this version Original. And if there's other versions in between, you can skip those and name the most current version something else, like, this is the published copy. So we can name that Published Copy. So anything else in between, you could ignore just by saying only show named versions. Now that's something Microsoft doesn't have yet. It's showing me auto recover because I think it disconnected from the server, but you will also see that here in Microsoft is version history. File, version history, it's the same in both. Okay, coming down to my last and favorite tool here, which is Date Math Magic in Excel, and then we'll take your questions. Let me jet back over here to my clever little workbook. Okay, now I've just done this with one task. Now, this is a formula that determines, based on a start date and a 10 business days duration that it's going to take to complete it, When will that actually end? Well, it's not the 19th because there's some weekends in there and there may even be some holidays in there. So how did we get this to work? First, enter your holiday list somewhere in your workbook. I actually got mine from timeanddate.com, and this actually came in as a table. This is a query. If you want the workbook, it'll probably show up with that linked query, so you're welcome to it. But there is actually a table here now that came from somewhere else. It gives me all the federal holidays. This is a table, so it already has, we gave it a name, holiday table, but what the formula is going to want to know are the actual dates. So we actually selected these dates and we can name them something like, what did I name them? Formulas, name manager, holidays. Who knew? So named it actually holidays. And yeah, named holidays. That's this guy here. So with that in mind, I can go ahead and say, given this start date, which by the way, I put in with the shortcut control semicolon, using the workday function. This is the start. By the way, this is also in Sheets. So if you're seeing it here, this will work the same way in Sheets. The start date is in B2. It's going to take the duration from D2, and it needs the holidays named range in order to figure out what the end date is. And it's going to take care of holidays for you. So if this starts on 12/15/2019 and it's going to end on 12/30, that's 15 days. That's weekends, that's holidays in between. So it's going to take into consideration all of your holidays. Here's that formula again. It's in your handout. Workday, it needs the start date, the number of days, duration, and I'm using a named range for holidays, but you could just type them in and select them in there. Just like with the VLOOKUP, don't forget to do an absolute cell reference if you're not going to name it. So this is all in your handout. That's there for you already. And I just ran over the finish line. That's 7 tips. Emily, what questions do we have?
All right, before we jump into questions, I'd like to remind everybody that they can go ahead and submit any questions that they have for Melissa via the questions feature on the toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen. And also, please make sure to download the handout. I've received a lot of questions about where people can access further information on what Melissa has been discussing today. So please go ahead and download that handout as a takeaway. And then also the recorded version of today's ELSX will be emailed to everyone tomorrow, and within the next week it'll be posted on our blog for further reference. So with that said, I'll go in. I'm going to back up here, Melissa, to where you were talking about the mail merge at the very beginning. Someone had mentioned that they saw a dictate button, and can email be dictated? Is that an option?
Actually, if we come into Outlook, which I have open down here, let me go there and here and go to mail. Why are you not playing well with others? Okay, so I'm going to go to mail here and do Control N and click. You know, that's interesting. You should be able to dictate. So let's ask it. Dictate menu, dictation menu. So apparently it's there somewhere and it's not popping up for me. Oh, apparently it is popping up for me. So now the question is where that was. A lot of times I have no idea where things are, and you're going to see everything I'm saying coming up on the screen. So what I did, because I didn't know where it was here, is to click up here and type in the word dictation. And the first thing it does is give me where that it gives me the button so I can just use it like that. I'm not sure where it is on here. You would think it would just be direct, but format Yeah, well, it's because I'm talking too much. So yes, it's there. No, I don't know exactly where it is, but yes, it's available. And if you just click up here and say dictation, it should give it to you. Worst case, if you want to dictate the contents of an email and you don't see that or you don't have that tell me what you want to do feature, start in Word, dictate it, and then copy and paste it over to Outlook.
All right, next question, Melissa, is also on the mail merge. So the question is that we use a global directory for contacts, and so the contacts are not under people in Outlook. Is there a way to select contacts from outside of that list?
I think if you're using a global address list, and of course I don't show mine here, but if you had like a global address list and selected several that you wanted to use, if you can see them here, you can definitely go to the actions button and start a mail merge on that. So as long as you can see it, you should be able to do it. So that said, if you have a global address list, you can still create a group from those, as far as I know, and then use that group kind of the way we showed you here. And then you can delete the group. You don't need to keep it. It just needs to be there in order to do your mail merge. But you should be able to go from the gal and just select things.
Melissa, in regards to the VLOOKUP, you had
Mhm.
mentioned that you had a workbook on the formulas. What is the best way? How can we make sure we had a few requests for people to receive that?
So following this session, I'm going to send that workbook to Emily, and when she sends everything else out, the link for the video, that will be there. Is that okay, Emily?
Well, ours is automatically sent. It doesn't come directly from me.
Great. So if you
It,
want to reach out to me, no problem. We'll make everything work. Let me go out to see all slides. Let me see what I have in here. If you write to me at info@sawbuckseminars.com, I will send you the workbook.
Perfect. Do you mind repeating that one more time, Melissa, just in case?
Not a problem. And it's right here on the screen. So you just need info@sawbuckseminars.com.
Perfect. Thank you. In PowerPoint, how do you keep the bullet points from creating smaller fonts?
The best way to do that is to adjust the slide master. So if you go to the View tab, and you'll see the Slide Master button approximately here, you want to adjust this very top one, because I always go in there and I just change it. So I have 32 and 28, and then I don't make anything else smaller. But if you want them all the same size, you can simply select all your levels and make them all the same size. If you want to make them all 24 points, now they're all 24 points. When I close the Slide Master, no matter whether they are main bullets or sub bullets. So let me take this one, this, that, the other. No matter how far down I go in the hierarchy, the text stays the same. So you will need to adjust the slide master on that one.
Melissa, how do you insert the current date after on the slides to update in the presentation?
Insert the current date. So if we were to do, again, in the slide master, I believe, the date should be insert a placeholder. Should be right here. Footers. If I go to footers, why is it not letting me do that? Let me go to a brand new one. It should be on the slide master on the insert placeholder piece, content text, media, online image, insert placeholder. Is there a way for me to, you know what? Hit me up with that one, info@sawbuckseminars.com, and let me get you a definitive answer for that. And yeah, anybody else interested in that, email me. I know it's out here on the slide master at the top. I can't not pull it out of the top of my head. Let me see. Date and time. We could just ask it. So in the header and footer, date and time. Here it is. I don't have to wait. insert header and footer, date and time, and you can tell it to just do update automatically or fixed. So there it is. Insert header and footer. Thank you for letting me scramble, and date and time. All right, next question.
Fast track presentations from outlines. What version does that start?
Office 97, way back in the dark ages. So yeah, forever. That's the thing, is like, this one of these things has been around forever, but nobody told you. So the difference between the latest versions, and I believe it's 2013, but it may be 2010 and before, is right up at the top here. In the older versions, it will say slides and outline. The only difference is now you have to go to the view tab and you'll see outline and normal. Okay, so outline view, but that has been around since forever.
Not sure if we could do this one quickly, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. How do you create a formula that gives you the number of years of service from a specific anniversary date?
Here you go. This is going to be easy and quick. So let's say somebody began on the 15th of November in 2009, and today is this date. And we want to know how many years, and complete years, they've been with the organization. It's a hidden function called date diff. Date diff needs the start date, the end date, which could be also today, open paren, close paren, but the end date, and in double quotes, a Y for years. And that is the number of complete years that person has been with the organization. So not 10. If this were November 16th, this would change to that would change to 10. But as of today, it's only 9 complete years. Let me put this back up here so you can see it. So it's date diff. It is a hidden function. It's not going to, there's no help on it. It's not going to reveal itself to you when you do the, function type ahead, but it's there. And it needs start date, end date, and you can use year, months, and days in here, Y, M, and D in there to give you the exact number of whatever you want.
Melissa, does dictation work for Gmail as well?
It does. It's not called that. It's called something else. Let me come in here and get to this document. And where's my little microphone guy? It is out here. Editing, suggesting, viewing. I cannot find it, but yes, it's out here. Let's ask Google. So voice typing, there it is. You're looking for that little icon. And if I click this, now it will put everything in there that you need. So it's called voice typing in Google Docs.
All right, this will be our last question. Can you open an existing PowerPoint template and use the outline feature to create your presentation?
So if you already have a template is what I'm hearing. So if I'm going to do file, new, custom template, let me bring one of my custom templates here. I don't know, we'll use this one. Okay, so there's a custom template. I can go to the outline, actually right here, just go view, outline view, and you can actually start putting your slides right in there as a template. So if we wanted to make this something else, we're going to talk about this, that, and the other. And it's not going to be, let me get rid of this first guy here. We don't need that one. Nothing's cooperating today. For whatever reason, everything's lagging just a bit on here. But yes, you can just create a brand new presentation from the template and then go to outline view and start working on it from there.
Fantastic. I'd like to express my gratitude to Melissa for her time today and all of the work she's really doing to progress the administrative profession. So thank you so much, Melissa, for being here with us today. I received several messages through GoToWebinar saying how much you rock and how helpful you were today. So
Awesome.
thank
Thank
you
you.
again. Melissa will be leading technology workshops for executive assistants at the ELS forums throughout this year. She'll be with us next week in Detroit, followed by Boston, DC, Vancouver, and many, many more. So if you're interested in furthering your technology skills, come out and join us at a forum and meet Melissa in person. Now, before signing off, I have a few final reminders. Make sure to download the handout. It's underneath the handout tab on the toolbar. I'm still receiving questions about that. You can go ahead and download the handout directly underneath that handout tab on the toolbar. A recording will be sent and emailed to you tomorrow. And our next ELSX will take place on April 25th, where we will learn about Excel tables. And we're going to talk about the Excel features that every assistant needs to master. You can register for that or any of our upcoming webinars at elsforum.com. I hope you have enjoyed today's webinar. And final thank you to everyone for joining us and participating. We hope you had a wonderful, wonderful time, and we wish you continued success. Take care.